Hello and welcome back to another fantasy football video. I hope everyone is doing well. Now, with a lot of popular fantasy assets not performing particularly well recently, the likes of Trent, the likes of Salah, a lot of people, including myself, are going to be looking towards the wildcard button. Today, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at a little draft ahead of game week 7. If you are new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does really help me out. And let's get straight into this one. So, firstly, in goal, who are we going for? I think Nick Pope is currently the standout option, sitting highest in terms of points for goalkeepers so far this season at 5.1 million. Definitely looks like decent value in the last game, picking up a 12-pointer, which is effectively the same as a defender getting an assist and then the 3 bonus as well. And that is the fantastic thing about Nick Pope, is that Newcastle don't necessarily have to keep a clean sheet, which, to be fair to them, they look like keeping a fair few clean sheets this season. But when they do, he'll pick up, 3 bonus points, some save points. He'll pick plenty of points up on top of that and not just be like an Edison or an Allison, who just kind of, when they keep a clean sheet, they keep a 6-pointer, which is why Nick Pope is definitely probably one of the favourites, along with maybe Robert Sanchez, to get that top spot. With the way that Newcastle and Pope are performing so far this season, I think that Pope is your number one standout guy, and Newcastle's fixtures going forward look pretty decent as well. And throughout this wildcard video, I'm also going to be considering the fixtures after game week 8, and that is post international break, because I think it is also important to plan for the future. And then we've got Danny Ward there as our second option goalkeeper. Now, I'm humming and hawing about Danny Ward because I actually feel like if he continues on this form and then gets dropped, he will most likely get a price drop, because I think he's reasonably high owned at the minute, because he's a 4 million goalkeeper who is playing week in, week out. So how can you kind of turn your nose up at that? But then if he does end up getting dropped, which I wouldn't be too surprised because Leicester are leaking a lot of goals, then Danny Ward could easily drop in price. So you could either go for his counterpart at Adverson or just go with another 4 million goalkeeper. But for now, that we know that Danny Ward is playing at 4 million, as I say, it's quite hard to turn your nose up at him. Then in terms of the defence now, it's still a reasonably template defence, I would say, obviously, without Trent Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool defensively just don't justify having the assets this season, especially at that price. And Trent has only got 2 attacking returns so far this season, and they were in one game, so he didn't really benefit from getting any bonus points in the other games had he got like one of the attacking returns in another one of those games. I'm holding on to Reece James for the time being. So far this season, he's looked pretty good going forward and good for the bonus points as well. And with the fixtures that Chelsea do have after that international break, I think that Reece James could be due a haul. So I think it's worth keeping hold of him. And to be honest, with the whole way this team is structured, you do have quite a lot of money to play around with, especially with the fact that we're getting rid of Salah, which we will come on to. Then Cancelo for Manchester City is just an easy way into that Manchester City defence. They've not been as strong this season as many would have hoped, and a lot of people who double down on that Manchester City defence have actually been quite disappointed. Now with Manchester City, you never really know. They can quite easily turn it around, and when they do concede, they only tend to concede 1 goal, and I think there will be periods throughout this season where they'll just go on keep like 4 or 5 clean sheets in a row. But it's nice to just cover off that option with Cancelo, as he has been playing week in, week out, and is also decent for an attacking return as well. Then we've got Saliba of Arsenal. I think Saliba is the standout option for me of the Arsenal assets. He's always so high on that bonus point ticker. Arsenal haven't managed to keep a clean sheet in the last couple of games, but when they do, he is definitely going to be one for the bonus points as well. Then we've actually gone for the double down of the Newcastle defence with Trippier and Pope. Trippier, like Pope, are very good for the bonus points. If you'd owned both of them in game week 6, you would have got a grand total of 20 points for only 2 clean sheets. From base points, that's only 12 points. So the fact that they managed to pick up an extra 8 points between the two of them throughout bonus points and save points is just absolutely incredible. And going forward, I think that going for a double up on the Newcastle defence, especially with these two because of their bonus point potential. And Trippier has some attacking potential as well, being on free kicks. He's already scored 1 so far this season. And corners, you can see him absolutely hauling sometime in the near future. Then we've gone for Patterson as our filler, kind of 4.0, 4.1 option. Now, there is the option of Nico Williams as well. He did pick up an attacking return and assist against Bournemouth. But the main thing I'm looking for a defender is is, can you keep clean sheets? And I think Everton, with the signings of Cody, the signings of Tarkowski, are much more likely throughout the rest of the season to keep clean sheets. So I think that Patterson will end up scoring more points than Nico Williams, because Forest are just statistically and just are the worst defence so far in the league. Then moving on into the midfield, a couple of nice picks that I like here. Wilfried Zaha of Crystal Palace, been on some okay form so far this season, currently sitting 5th in terms of the expected goal stats. Rashford, obviously, after that game that we've just seen against Arsenal, picking up an 18-pointer, and if you did manage to bring him in for that game, then you've absolutely smashed it. But now I think is the right time to hop on him. They've got Crystal Palace away, and then that Leeds at home fixture. I'm really looking towards bringing Rashford in, because Manchester United have a good history of absolutely thumping Leeds, and Leeds themselves have just conceded 5 goals to Brentford. Then De Bruyne is my next kind of premium asset. I think you can be a little bit more creative, with Salah not being particularly great so far this season. Haaland obviously absolutely smashing it, but the rest of the premium assets not doing particularly well, and the likes of Rashford, Pascal Gross outperforming all of these kind of 12-13 million players. You can actually justify it at the minute, just, almost keeping 10 million in the bank, because these premium players aren't performing up to the standard that we expect that they would be. But going forward, I do feel like De Bruyne for me is the best option. Picking up an assist against Villa and a couple of bonus points. Playing for a Manchester City side so far this season that is looking pretty dominant. Martinelli, now a lot of you will probably already own Martinelli, but I still just think for that price bracket, he is just the standout option. He scored a goal against Manchester United, which debatably should have stood, and had it have stood, he probably would have been on for kind of 8 or 9 pointer depending on the bonus points. And then Andreas as your kind of filler 5th midfielder. I mean, after the international break, Fulham's fixtures really do swing and become very, very nice. Between 11 and 14, they have 3 home games, and those 3 home games are all green on the fixture ticker. So there's definitely an argument to be made here that you can actually play Andreas as a 5th midfielder. And as you will see with this team, there's a lot of potential for rotation, a lot of potential for a lot of bench headaches. But with that being said, the UCL for teams like Manchester City and Chelsea, European fixtures for the likes of Arsenal and Manchester United, we're likely going to see some kind of rotation in these teams. So I think it's good to have a reasonably juicy bench going forward. Then talking of forwards, obviously we've got the 11.9 million man Erling Haaland. Not too much I have to say about here other than he is essential. He's going to be everyone's captaincy week in, week out. Now a lot of people will say that's boring, but I'm actually quite liking the fact that the rest of the template has been pretty much smashed open with all of the Liverpool assets being poor. I feel like we'll see a lot of people moving around and picking some more differential players. Ivan Toney and Mitrovic to round off of the team, 2 players that have been in incredible form so far this season. Now you may look at this team and go, oh no, Gabriel Jesus, but Toney and Mitrovic have been outperforming him, and it just doesn't quite work in terms of money to be able to afford Kevin De Bruyne and get Jesus in, which is why Toney's in there, and I don't think Toney is at all in any way a downgrade. And Mitrovic, he just keeps on scoring. Honestly, the game they play against Chelsea at the weekend, they were at home, and I'm fully backing him to score in that one. But the big one that I'm looking towards for Mitrovic is that Nottingham Forest away fixture. Because of how poor Forest has been, I actually feel like going into that game, Mitrovic may well be essential. Let me know down in the comments below if you're thinking of wildcarding and what you think of this team. This is kind of just a little draft that I've conjured up of a lot of the kind of informed players at the minute and players going forward who I feel have good fixtures. If you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.